The Qantas CEO, Alan Joyce. There have been plenty of puff pieces saluting his virtues as a businessman. What validity do they have? The figures would suggest that he may be amongst the worst business leaders in the country. And frankly, there's a lot of competition for that title. So look at the figures. In 2008, Joyce took over as CEO of Qantas. Since then, he's reportedly taken home a salary of $104 million. That's all up over all those years, plus this year's salary, which apparently includes a deferred bonus of $3.7 million. What's he done to warrant such generous compensation? Well, during his time as CEO, Qantas has posted losses of nearly $3 billion. At the same time, Qantas has raked in billions of dollars in subsidies and, quote, emergency bailouts, your money. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Qantas received a $2 billion bailout from the Morrison government. Joyce, as CEO, has flogged off assets that Qantas had accumulated, including domestic terminals and large swathes of land at Sydney Airport. He's shown little regard for his employees by outsourcing major divisions of the company to foreign interests, such as baggage handling and critical heavy maintenance. Instead of paying back the taxpayer and restoring Aussie jobs, Qantas is now reportedly buying back its own shares to the tune of $400 million to prop up its share price. Forget about paying tax, because Qantas keeps making losses under the leadership of Alan Joyce. It looks like they won't be paying any tax this year. But to top it off, which irritates Qantas staff and thousands of others, Alan Joyce spends his time meddling in our political system. When it came to the 2019-20 bushfires, Joyce said, quote, "The longer we wait to genuinely tackle climate change, the harder it will be. The world is becoming more ambitious in tackling climate change, and so must we. Australia's policy progress has been slowed by deeply partisan debates. We've let science lead the way on the pandemic, and it's worked. Why should climate change be any different?" Unquote. So Alan Joyce is now an expert on climate change and apparently urging that we get rid of any debate. I'm sure Alan Joyce doesn't want the punter to know the truth, that carbon dioxide makes up 0.04% of the atmosphere, 97% of carbon dioxide emissions are naturally emitted, 3% worldwide are the product of human activity, and little old Australia is only responsible for 1.3% of the 3%. You run out of noughts, don't you? On gay marriage, Alan Joyce said, "It's really about equality. One of the reasons why I love Australia is it's about a fair go," unquote. A fair go? The 1,700 baggage handlers Alan Joyce sacked after outsourcing the division to a foreign company surely didn't get a fair go. Now he thinks he's got the right to call for a rewriting of the Australian Constitution. On the Indigenous voice, Joyce said recently that, quote, "The enshrined voice is a pathway forward for a more unified and reconciled nation," unquote. I'm not sure Alan Joyce is qualified to talk about a unified and reconciled anything. He outsources Australian jobs, he gobbles up taxpayer money, he supports share buyback schemes designed to prop up Qantas's stock price instead of reinvesting the cash into improving the airline services and protecting Aussie jobs. And he thinks he has the right to call for social, political and constitutional change from his $19 million waterfront mansion in Mossman. Well, my message to this bloke is simple. Stick to your knitting, Alan Joyce. Fix up Qantas and leave the political debate to others, unless you want to give up the $1 million salaries and enter Parliament on $217,000 a year, where your political utterances have every chance of being swiftly dismissed. To use the vernacular, many people are saying to Alan Joyce in the wake of all his utterances, "Shut up."